Do you remember these little pieces we've made last Sunday from some stickers and some other tiny bits and pieces? My video from last Sunday was about jazzing up your stickers and make something like this. If you have missed that, the link is down below in the description box. If you have seen it, you probably also remember this masterpiece here. This looks a little weird. For everyone who's new here, let me quickly explain what this is and why this is a masterpiece, because compared to the others we've made in the other video, this looks relatively unspectacular, but by coincidence, I have experienced that it looks really cool if we take a piece stamped on, a stamp impression on a paper, cut out, and then we have put a little piece of our sticker material, which we've also stamped with the same stamp on top, and we got this cool effect. That was coincidence. I have taken these little guys here, these little three little papers. I'm so excited. Look, my desk is just a mess. I'm so sorry, but this brought me to an idea, and I want to try it out, and this is how my desk looks when I get this bulb moment in my brain. So this came to life by stamping this stamp from the Field Notes stamp set by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. The number is CMS 396. I had already prepared some of these, and I had them in my stash, so they originally have been like this. And I have taken 3 of them, glued them together, and then I had one of my little sticker pieces, and I wanted to put that there, and then I had this little guy also stamped, and I've placed that behind, and then I realized when I lined that up with the stamp impression on this piece, which was the same stamp, then it looks really cool. So I came to the idea to make some little pieces with this idea, without this stuff behind, so that we later on have some round elements to put into our junk journals. So if you're interested in how this can be done really easily, then this video is for you. Welcome, it's Luise Heinzel. Today, in a little messy condition. Is condition the right word? I don't know. But we are going to do this. What are we going to need? We need some round pieces. I have these little guys here, which I got in a Happy Mail. These are obviously some round tags. They already have a hole in here, so I want to use the hole as well. If you have round things without a hole, you can decide if you want to use the hole or not. I decided that I want to do that because, it would look totally weird if we would do this by leaving this little guy in here. That would look absolutely terrible. So I am quickly taking these little guys out. If you don't have something pre-made like this, you could of course take a punch, like a paper punch or a die cut, and cut some of these pieces. If you have a stamp like this one here, for example, so this is the same stamp like I've used on the other piece. Where have I put it now? It's exactly the same stamp. It also comes from the Field Notes stamp set, and this happened to be the exact same size like my circles. So if you have something like a round stamp and a punch which can punch the same size like the stamp is, that would be really handy. But if you don't have something like this matchy stuff, material, and tools, then you can of course stamp this to a piece of paper and then cut that out with your scissors so that the piece is round. You could even do this with rectangle shapes. Yeah, you could also take, where is the stamp now? This kind of stamp, yeah, can be a rectangle as well. But I would recommend use something where you have some interesting things on it. If you are like me, choose something that is like neutral impression wise, because then you later on have more possibilities to include that into your journal in different contexts, in a different context. Yeah, so I also have this little guy. This also comes from the Field Notes stamp set. Would also be possible to take something smaller. You don't necessarily need a white base. You could also take something that you already have, like, for example, stickers, or something that you have punched out from a design paper, like a patterned paper from a paper pad or something. Then you could place the stamp and look if it fits with your punch or die cut, or you could also just cut that out with scissors. If you use something that has a pattern on it, I would choose something like this, which is really subtle, so that the stamp impression of your stamp comes out really, really nice. Because then this effect that we want to get in the end is better, I think, but you do you, yeah? Please try that out, what you like the best. So that is what we are going to need. And then we need something that is either a washi sticker like this, but the main point is that the material you want to use is translucent. So these are, as you can see, printed in black on this like milky material. And when you peel off the back of these stickers, then you have a really translucent material, because this is a washi sticker. Alternatively, if you don't have something like this, you could take some masking tape and stamp, like, for example, flowers or butterflies or any other image with stamps on this, and then do the rest with the round stamp or the other stamp you've chosen. Because what we are going to do is we are going to take these images, we are going to stamp on them, and then we have this and this on the sticker material. So if you want to imitate that because you don't have something like this, take a translucent tape, like masking tape, or even normal tape. How is that called? There's this, like, you know, this packaging tape, which is like a little milky as well, available. You could also take something like that, but make sure that you have a stamping ink which can hold on such a material. Meaning, if you use like glossy tape, for example, then use an ink like, for example, StazOn, which can dry on a glossy material like that. So what we are going to do is we are going to take these little guys first, and I want to make them a little vintage, because this white is definitely not what I want to have. The material here is, it has something like a really, a little slippery surface. It's relatively, slippery, a little glossy as well. I'm going to take some frayed burlap spray stain, only a tiny little bit, because I already know that this is going to dry really weird because of the surface of these circles. But I like the surface because it is smooth and not too porous. If you have a really porous paper, it could happen that your stamp impression that you want to put on these gets a little bleeded. So I'm going to take a paper towel and bring this around a little bit, just to make this, you know, a little brown. I want this not too busy. You could also take a blending brush and some ink, for example, distress ink or oxide ink or whatever, and just, you know, make a little blending on these. If you have a material which is not porous but glossy and slippery, you could also take a sanding disc or a sandpaper and sand over these a little bit, so that the ink you want to use for stamping can hold on this really well. I want this like smooth. I've only used the spray because that is fast. Of course, I could have also used you know, a blending brush or a tool like this little blending tool, to get a really smooth look of the ink. But this looks also like it has gotten wet somehow, and I really like that. So then we are going to dry this. If you have a slippery material which has this like weird surface, make sure that you don't use too much water and that you heat that carefully. I mean, with heating, I mean dry it carefully. It can happen, and that happened to me in my German video a second ago, that if you use too much water, that then the water goes in between of the paper layers here, and it gives you a really ugly frame. It looks then really grungy. I mean, I like grunge, but in this case I want them, the base here, I want them to be really like clean and not so extremely grungy. So then what we are going to do next is we are going to take some distress inks or something similar, And then we are going to take our stamp. Let me quickly make sure that this is really clean, because I have used black ink on here a second ago. Just like this. So let's start with some lumberjack plaid distress ink. I think a red looks really nice for this. And without thinking about the direction and where the hole of this little tag is, I'm going to stamp here. That has a reason that I don't think about that, because then these little guys get really versatile in the end, and they look very different even if we used the same materials on each of these little labels. Because look, when you hang them into your journal with these little holes, then this already looks different, because the hole is not in the same spot of the stamp impression on both of these, and that makes the variation. And I really like these like tiny variations. So this is tea dye. Looks also really nice in combination with the frayed burlap spray. But I want to have several different colors, so I'm going to clean this up, and then we can use some Uncharted Mariner ink. But the colors of this are of course optional. I think it looks really nice no matter which color you use. These will come out really gorgeous, I promise you. That sounds arrogant, but I'm really motivated at the moment to show you this. And I think this is a really easy and fast idea. You could even do this in front of the TV, you know, if you watch your favorite TV show or something, you could make a bunch of these. So this is Scorched Timber Distress ink. And when we have these, we can let them dry or dry them with our heat tool. But we need to do something else, so we can let them air dry, and in the meantime we can do the next layer for these. And the next layer, which I want to put on top here, I want to make out of these stickers. So I'm going to take these, place them here in front of me, and this is so dark, but this is dark as well. Yeah, let's try this as well. And I also want to see what happens if we take some colored stickers. So these are washi stickers as well, but as you can see, they are not black and white, but they have color. So let's take this one with these beautiful flowers there. What else do we have? I want to have something that is a little delicate, so perhaps this, so that, I mean, these guys here are not so big, meaning I want to choose a sticker that has like smaller details. No. You can try that, of course, by holding them here to the circle and then see how big that is. And if that can fit, oh, let's try it. Okay, so then we are going to take the same stamp, and we can now take something like VersaFine Clear ink. Make sure that you wait long enough or dry your pieces here with your heat tool to make sure that the ink dries really well. Alternatively, you could use archival ink. This would dry faster on a material like this. I want to use my VersaFine Clear ink because that gets more black, because my ink pad is juicier than this. This is already dried out a little bit and I haven't refilled it yet. So, but both would work. StazOn ink would work as well. Could dry on such a surface as well. So now I'm going to take this and I take the same stamp, but I stamp, for example, like this, so that I only get a portion of my stamp on the edge of this flower sticker. Meaning, when we later on take this and glue that to these elements here, we would have this portion, and we want to line that up with the image on the circle here, and then we have a really cool effect. But that requires that you stamp on the edge, or you could also do it, for example, like this. Then you also only have a portion of the stamp. It would make no sense to, let me do this here, would make no sense, or in my eyes, no sense for this effect, to stamp it like this, because then you would have the full stamp, which you then would glue on top of this, and that is like also perhaps a nice effect, but not what I want to reach here. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it would make no sense to me. In this case, it would make no sense. So I'm stamping like this, that I only have a portion, and that I can see the edge of the sticker here, because that is what we want to use for our effect later as well. So I'm going to do this on the other flowers here as well. And don't be confused, you can still use the rest, because you can see I have portions of this now, and the rest of the sticker we are going to cut off later. But don't freak your freak, please, because you can always use this material for, like, for example, the technique we've done last Sunday. If you've missed the video, as I said, the link is down below in the description box. If you want to check that out, then you can immediately see that you can use all of the leftovers from here for the other technique as well, so that they are not wasted. On this one here, how can we do that? Shall we? Let's stamp the full stamp and then later on just tear it. Because, you know, I've just said, for me it would make no sense to have the full thing over the other thing. That would make no sense, but we can later on just tear that. So we have this. I can't tear it now because the material where the sticker is sticked on is plastic, and I can't just tear that. And I think I don't want to cut it. I think that looks weird. So then I make sure that my ink is really dry. So I will quickly dry these with my heat gun. If you dry something like a sticker material with your heat gun, please make sure that you don't hold your heat tool too long in one spot. Otherwise you could destroy your sticker, because the back is of course plastic and it could melt if you have, for example, the heated tool by Ranger, because that gets really hot. And with other heat tools, even with a normal, you know, hair dryer, for example, I could imagine that the plastic can melt and then you have a melted sticker, and I guess that is not what you want. So is this already dry? Yep. So then let's take one of these little things here. And now you can decide if you want to cut this out first. So let me show you how this, how that looks then. So I'm going to cut around here, just around the stamped image, just like this. And then I take one of my little round labels here. And before I peel off the plastic, I try to get an orientation where this has to go, so that I know where I have to stick it down, because now I want to line that up exactly, or as exactly as possible, let's say it like that, with the stamp impression below. Meaning, if I look to that beforehand, I have an easier job to line this up. And if you can't do that 100% exactly, don't freak your freak. I see that it is not 100% on there, but can you see this nice effect? Can you see this red shadow, which the numbers have here now? I think that looks really interesting. And in my eyes, as long as this portion of the frame is like nearly in the right position, this looks really, really nice. Of course, when you can line it up 100% exactly, it has, yeah, an additional like different effect. We can try that with the next one. But what I'm trying to say is if you can't do that 100% exactly, and don't freak your freak. This is handmade, and this, you know, we have several of these, and I also want them to be like different. And you know, the different stickers make them different, the different colors make them different. And when then the position is not 100% the same and not 100% exact on each of these pieces, they get different automatically. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sanding the edges a little bit because I think that looks really nice. And then we have this little guy here, and I think this is something that can make you really happy. Are you happy? I don't know. Try it out. Then perhaps you're happy. So another possibility to get this into the right place, and also like that is also a different effect, well, a little bit different, is when you take this, let's perhaps take this with the Uncharted Mariner ink and peel this off before you cut the circle out, or this portion of the circle, because then, you know, this thing here, this round thing, the frame of the stamp impression is not exactly the same size like the label is. There's a little space around here from the label, and if you take this and glue this down or stick this down, and then cut it out, you have another look for the frame. Because if you now take this and after attaching this really well, then cut it out instead of cutting this beforehand, the sticker material of course goes to the very edge of this little label, and with that you get a little bit of the image of the flower to this frame here as well, and that makes it different to this, of course, where the frame of the tag goes all around. Also like a variation. And if you are like me and you have problems with cutting round shapes, just take a sanding disc or a sandpaper and go over this after you have cut it. Then you can make the edge of this really nice, and then it doesn't look wonky if you perhaps have, you know, cut a little wonky. And now I'm just realizing that I'm running out of eyelets, so I just have to take this little guy here, this little container, and of course you can vary, oh, this is too small, you can vary the colors of the eyelets as well to give this some variation, just like this. And I want to know what is with this flower. I mean, how can we do that we don't have the whole thing on here? I want to see the flowers, of course, but I also want to see some of this. Meaning, if I peel this off, now I'm trying to do this without wasting the rest of the material, so I want to tear some of this off so that I have the flower, but shall we tear into the flower? Yeah, I think so. Like that. Yeah, I think that is nice. So let's take this. We can save this for something else. We could even use this portion here on one of the other labels, of course. But we can do that in a second. And then I'm really wondering how I can bring this into the right position now, because this sticker is not as translucent as the others. But I think this is okay. Even if I can't see so well through it, I can see that this frame, this round frame, is approximately in the right position, and that is enough for this effect in my eyes. So let's cut this off to see how this looks in total without this excess material here. Here I want this a little more extreme. Oh, excuse me, please. Where is the hole? It's directly here, so meaning it would hang upside down if I would put the hole in there. Do I want that, or do you know what? We have these little pieces here. I can just, I mean, this is what I have taken out, because I think I just want to make sure that this is sturdy and that it can't tear, because the sticker is not so thick. But look, you can put it back in there, then this is safe. You can glue it without any problems, because I think this looks also nice without the eyelet. Yeah, does not need an eyelet. So what about this leftover thing? Can we perhaps even do something with this? Let's try that. Ooh! Oh no. Holy moly, that is hard to see. Think like this. And this has to go the other way around. What if we leave a little gap in between? What if we do this like wonky on purpose? But I don't like that. I don't like that with the frame, with this round frame, because you have the feeling it has to go where it originally was. Perhaps I can leave the tiniest little gap. So yeah, like this, so that it is a little offset, but not completely. On the right, you can see it's like one line, but on the left, it's a little offset, and that makes it like, you know, destroyed and repaired at the same time, or how can I say that? But if this frame of the stamp impression would be totally out of you know, where it should be, then I don't know how to say that in English. If this, you know, a portion of this frame on the black, from the black ink would be like, for example, here in the middle of the impression, then that would look, I think, totally weird. I don't like that. So, but please, if you like that and if you want to try that out, or if your stamp is different, then please just do that. Silver or gold? Gold. And that is also a thing. I try to vary the colors of the eyelets I use, because later on I will put these little guys into my stash. And it can happen that I then have a journal where gold fits better, so then I can choose one of those with a golden eyelet. Or it can happen that silver fits better. And of course, then I can take silver. The same with the colored stamps. Sorry, the colored stickers. Let's keep that neutral somehow. And let's take the one with scorched timber, because this sticker already has a color. These things I make for my stash, I try to have as neutral as possible. I mean, I don't want to stress myself and think, oh, neutral, neutral. Do you know what I mean? But later on I can always add more colors. Yeah, if I have like a project with blue, then I can take this and I already have a blue piece. Yes, if I want to make a tag with Uncharted Mariner oxide ink, I can take this as decoration and everything is fine. But this is still neutral for me. If I would make these like, you know, really colorful, I know that I won't use them so often, because then I always think, oh no, that fits not perfectly, and then it stays in my drawer. I know that already from the past, so I am trying to get these like neutral, and then oh no, the ink is not totally dry. Later on, oh no, okay, we have to live with this little smudge there now. Let's smear this around as well, and let's do this on purpose. Holy crap. Later on, when I think this is too neutral for my journal, then I can always take a color which fits to my journal and add that to this little thing, instead of having these in already, like, you know, special colors, and then the colors don't fit and I can't use it. It's better to have, I mean, for me, it's better to have neutral things in my stash and then add colors later. I could also imagine, I mean, we have some red here now, but that is relatively neutral, isn't it? But let's take another example. Let's take, for example, this one. Let's finish this up and let's think about how we could bring the right colors to this if we have a journal that has special colors, a special color palette, for example. Let's say in the journal we have some green elements, and that is the color, main color of the journal, and we take a neutral piece like this. What can we then do to get green to this, to make it fit to the other green elements in the journal? I don't say that you need green on every of your embellishments for a green journal, please don't get me wrong, but sometimes you want to take something neutral and add some colors so that it fits even better to what you're doing in the journal. So then you could take this and just take some green acrylic paint, for example, mix that with some water, put some splatters on here, and you would have the perfect little piece that matches your journal. You could also take a little piece of ribbon or something similar, like eyelash trim or something, and fiddle that through this little eyelet here to get the green with a fabric or like trim material that doesn't have to be on the tag itself. You could also hang something here. You could reach the same thing, for example, with some charms and some alcohol ink. Just take, for example, a silver charm. If you have a silver eyelet here, and when that fits to your journal, then you can be happy. You know, take a silver charm and some alcohol ink in red, for example, color the charm and hang that on here with a bulb pin, for example. Then you would also have the color. I mean, that was red as an example, but would work with green. You know, I've just made the example with the green journal a second ago, but that would work with other colors, of course, as well. So, is there a trick? I mean, is there a trick to get the washi stickers off from this plastic material? That could drive me crazy. The only reason why this doesn't drive me crazy is that I'm happy about these little pieces, but this is really bothering me. I have seen videos where the people have, you know, just taken their fingernail and tried to, it works. Place that to the table and then go over that with your fingernail to get the start of this. Obviously works better than everything else. sometimes? No. In the last video, not the last one because that was a different one, but the video, the last one with this thing, you know, with the stickers, the other video with the stickers, no, it was not that video. It was another video. It doesn't matter which video it was. In one of my last videos, I said that I don't like mask making. Is this already mask making? I guess so. I think there's a hashtag called excuse me, mask making mask make March 2024 on YouTube. I don't put that hashtag to my video. I do that on purpose because I don't see this as mask making, but perhaps you see it as something like that. Please let me know what you think about that, because in one of my past videos I said I don't like mask making and I don't like this this title for, yeah, for something like that, because sometimes I have the feeling that if you call it mask making, then it gets mask making, and mask making in my eyes is something where you just do one thing and one step after each other, and you just do it like a machine. That sounds rude, but in my eyes it feels like that, and this already feels like mask making, even if these things all look different, but each one is round. It has the same stamp and the same stickers, the same black color here for stamping the second layer, and so on. There are so many things that are the same on each piece, and because of that this feels like mask making. But at the same time, perhaps you have noticed that I do the steps not in the typical way of mask making, because normally when you do mask making you would probably you know, in the beginning I did that. I colored all of the things with my background color. I stamped to all of these with my stamp, but the difference to mask making in my eyes is that I have used different colors here already, so that I got variation already. I have then taken these pieces and then I finished each of those with different steps, meaning take the sticker and make the hole bigger, and then take the eyelet and attach that. With like real mask making, you would probably take all of the stickers, stick them down to all of those, and then set all of the eyelets, and if you want to add trim, then add trim to all of the holes, or if you want to add a charm to all of the holes, so that the steps are really the same, like, you know, like mask making. But with this, I can also get variations, like for example here with the colors, and don't do the hole and the eyelet on this piece here. When I do that like blind, then I have the feeling that I don't have so many possibilities, and that stops me in being creative somehow. And I have the feeling, and that is really an honest question, that this isn't mask making, and that these look different to other mask making projects. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to say that other mask making projects are bad. Yeah, I have respect for those people who can do that, and people who can do really this step, this step, this step, this step on all of the pieces. When I see that, I am like speechless, somehow blown away by the patience you need for that, because that would, for me, it would be too boring to make like something like so similar, because when I see, I mean, this idea with these round things and a stamp on them, that is not new, yeah, we have seen that already. Perhaps the idea with the sticker is new, yes, but these things, we have already seen them. But when I see those, they look all the same. And that can be good, of course, yeah. When you need a ton of those in the same style, it's totally fine, yeah. It's totally up to you. I don't want to say anything bad about that. But for me, it's like, yeah, it stops my creativity somehow. And when I do those steps like blind, then I don't have the possibility to see if I find a color combination that I like or don't like. Then I have the feeling I can't try out using a colored sticker when I decided for black and white stickers. Yeah, I have the feeling that it stops me somehow. And I would be really interested in your opinion about that, because sometimes I sit here and of course I want to give you good content and I want to give you good tips. But sometimes I have the feeling that I say my opinion and I say, you know, I do it like this or that or that. And it could be like somehow weird or arrogant or do you know what I mean? When I say that I don't like mask making, then yeah, that is not so nice, is it? I mean, that is somehow weird, but I don't want to say bad things. Do you know what I mean? Even if I'm allowed to have my opinion, I think. I mean, you are allowed to have your opinion about this as well. And you can say, Louise, this is shit, yeah, and this is not nice, or what is this? This is from like a kindergarten child or whatever. Of course, you can have your own opinion. I have to be satisfied with this. And that's the same for you as well. If you try this out and you don't like it, then please don't do it. Don't do more of these if you don't like them. If you have tried them out and you think, oh, that is not my cup of tea, then please stop and do something different. But at the same time, I am interested in your opinion, because, I mean, that probably would not influence my content, because as I said, I have to be happy with these things, and if you like them then as well, that is good. I could not do something only because you like it, yeah. So of course, if you ask, Louise, can you show this or that technique we've seen somewhere, do you know something about that, and could you show the technique? If I can do it, of course I'm happy to share that, yeah, and show it to you. But I could never do something only because the algorithm tells me that you would like it. Yeah, I have to be satisfied with this. Otherwise, I couldn't spread my motivation to you. I couldn't spread joy to the world. And that would be totally weird. And that is the reason why I want to hear your opinion about that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and with doing all of those steps, like with exactly the same materials after each other, that is a really good example for what I was trying to say a second ago. Because look, let's say we had made, let's say we had made all of these in this color combination. Yeah, so we are going to ignore all of these. And let's say we have 20 of these ready for our stash. Mask making, I would say. So same color. Let's imagine the eyelets are also even the same color, and we have all the same, and we like them, and we are happy with them, and we use them in our future junk journals. Everything is okay. But we could not find out that something like this is nice as well, that we can say, okay, I like this red here. I can also tell you that the next time I wouldn't use a silver eyelet in combination with red, but gold, because with this I can compare only the color of the eyelet and the lumberjack plaid red, and I can see that gold and this looks, I'm sorry, looks better together in my eyes for my taste. I could not see that if I only had 20 of these in exactly the same way, made in the same way. Also with these colored stickers here, I think they are all somehow nice. I like the idea of leaving the eyelet out. This is also a nice embellishment. Looks really cool. Doesn't need the eyelet. Also a thing that I can see when I like change my mask making method a little bit. Here I can see that I really like this with this leaf here, and I haven't, to be honest, I haven't expected that I would like this so much when I started, and I thought, is this good? I was like struggling a little bit because I thought, will this look nice? But I really like that. I don't like it so much in combination with the red here, the green and the red. That is not so my cup of tea. But with the right surrounding in my junk journal, I can make this work, of course. But I like this way better with this neutral color and the green. That looks really, really nice. And this as well. Here's the contrast, not so big because I've accidentally smeared the ink, but that is also something that I can see here now. Yeah, and I like to pay attention to those details to also learn for the future. And even if you would call something like this also like mask making, okay, it is somehow, as I said, but it is perhaps a little different. And if you like having a stash of things as well, perhaps you want to try this like slightly different mask making method for your own things, for your stash, and perhaps you can come to some conclusions for yourself as well, for your own process of making something like this. That would make me really happy. So, of course, we could take these now and bring them into a context like this, meaning we could take some pieces of paper and collage them behind or around this thing. Imagine, oh wow, look, we would have something like this here. I mean, if I would do another collage, of course, I would glue this little label here where it says 1890. I would glue that on top of this. Yeah, you could also make like a little tuck spot out of this, or you could even, look, we could even make a tuck spot like so, look. Then you could store several of these in a journal. This is probably a little too small, but you know, I think you got the idea, yeah? With the same stamp here, with the same idea, we have stored these, and then when we work in the journal, we can take them out and use them, and you know, this is like a connection somehow. You could even take these and put some glossy accents on top. I already thought about that, so that is this stuff here. With this, you get a really, as the name says, glossy surface, and you can put it on here so that you also get a raised surface, nearly like there would be glass on this. That I can imagine that would look really, really nice. Glossy accents is also available as crackle accents, meaning that this crackles. You could also put some crackle paint or paste on this and see what effects you could get with that. Could look really interesting as well. So meaning if you have these and you want to put them into your journal, you could even put some variation to them by using some different mediums. Yeah, for example, crackle mediums or glossy things, or you could also put some how are these little tiny, not sequences, but sequences would work as well. These little, what is the word? Gemstones. I think it's a word, isn't it? These little like bling bling thingies, which you could glue down somewhere. If you like that, then, you know, do it. And I'm really, really excited to see what you are going to do with this idea. If you have something, then you can, of course, post that in my Facebook group. The link is down below in the description box. Thanks to all of the people who have, in the meantime, joined my group. I'm really, really happy that this originally German group is growing into an international group. I'm so happy to meet all of you there. So if you don't know about the group yet, then check out the link down below in the description box. You can post that there. Of course, you can also post it to your social media like Instagram or Facebook, and you can tag me so that I can see your results. I'm really excited. So I wish you a very, very creative day, and hopefully we will see the next time with another cool idea for your junk journals. Have a creative day and see you the next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.